So what I'm going to talk to you about is actually a bit more of a case study really around how at my business, Simply Business, we have used comms to really drive connection. So start with really quick intro. Simply Business are a digital insurance broker. There are approximately 750 employees based in the UK and US, very connected workforce. Everyone has access to our communication channels such as intranet, email, and so on. We're a very purpose-driven organisation. We insure small businesses and we're also a B Corp organisation. So really putting people at the heart of everything we do. So I guess sort of tying into the sort of things that Trudy and Kendi were talking about, for us at the start of lockdown, I really think, we saw it as a massive opportunity. There was a really strong kind of novelty effect at the start and a sense of people really feeling in it together. And this really extended actually to our customers as well. So for us at the start of lockdown, our NPS scores and customer satisfaction scores were through the roof, higher than we've ever seen them, which I think, if you reflect on some of the calls you've made to insurance companies, they're probably not some of the best, but for us it was really a positive time. Energy was really high in our meetings, our town halls. We were doing Friday quizzes. I think one of the actual big perks of working at Simply Business is that there's an annual awards trip, but naturally with where we are this year, that was cancelled. So we had to quickly turn that into a remote event with none of the budget. But we're able to do that in a way that really showcased people's talents, gave that sense of recognition, but also that sense of culture and fun. But, as obviously time's gone on, I think that novelty effect has also definitely worn off. And there's a real new challenge for internal communicators that I've definitely felt. And through our kind of surveying of staff through lockdown, we've come back with this stat that really around 30 to 40% are currently feeling disconnected from the business and all their teams. So with that in mind, Black History Month, starting obviously in October, really gave us an opportunity to think about how we can engage people and help them to feel connected again. And so I'll talk you through some of that, but this, these sort of techniques would work really for any campaign, but naturally we're just using this one. So we initially were asking ourselves some central questions, how can we make the most of it while remote? This is only the second time as a company that we had celebrated Black History Month. So, we've done a really great start last year and it was really buzzing, and we were thinking about, well, how can we make the most of it while remote, bust that sense of Zoom fatigue and really make it feel special. And so really it was around how we used technology that we currently have to go really from beyond the transactional. So, if you're thinking about what's in your calendar at the moment, you've probably got some regular catch-ups, regular one-to-ones, what's coming, and you kind of, you're used to the sort of Zoom chat. And so we're thinking about how we can go and make that actually something that's human and more powerful. So this is, I guess, where my dual role comes in handy, because I also lead our Black Diversity Network. So it's about sort of talking to people in the network and really coaching them really to share some of their experiences. And we did a number of kind of sessions around that, and also with other employees as well, to kind of bring them into the conversations that we were just having what felt like really powerful moments with different people across the business. Also about driving that sense of connection. So a big part of last year was, food and drink and parties and that sort of music kind of stuff. And we've, we can't do those things, but we can still connect with people over food. And we found a digital way of doing that, which I'll just show you in a sec. And finally, that sort of recognition piece. So how can we be amplifying Black voices through the month and really shining a light on their stories, not just from a sense of inclusion, but just from a sense of actually recognition for those employees. So it looked a little bit like this. Here's a bit of a flavour of some of the things that we did, and we purposefully really went bold with our designs, and the look and feel of this. This doesn't look like the sort of thing that you get invited to at work, and thankfully we've got a lovely design team who do amazing stuff for us, but this is the sort of thing that within any kind of organisation, have a think about how you use your brand. How do you invite people to events? Is it engaging? Does it jump out at you? And so this was part of it as well. We were doing an In Conversation show where members of the network would have an interview and talk about their experiences to the backdrop of music. We also had a number of what we call level ups. Those are sessions where anyone can kind of come along and teach people about a topic. And so for the month of October, those were all Black History related. And the cooking competition, which was hosted on Slack. So we would post the recipe on a Monday, and throughout the week get people kind of posting and trying these recipes and posting pictures, and you get reactions. And I sort of share this particular one because the feedback was so lovely that it wasn't just about the getting to know a different culture, it was also about the sense of well-being that it brought her to almost have something different to do in the week. So I think with the whole sort of remote working, it's really easy to get into a very cyclical process and way of thinking, but I would kind of challenge everyone to think about, well, how could you transform some of those meetings that you have, and think about those in a way that really connects people authentically. So finally, because this is I'm the case study and I wanted to bring some more practical stuff in, I know that as internal comms people, we always get the how are we measuring, what does the success look like, and it's really important. So we're on a journey with this ourselves as a business. We're a lean internal comms team, and we're also kind of building up, to Trudy's point around building trust with leaders. For us, it is about obviously demonstrating the value that we bring. So we use this model of reach, engagement, satisfaction, and look at all of these sort of different areas that we can measure. So some of them are in the moment type things, some of them are a little bit longer term, and the satisfaction piece is definitely more of an annual piece that we look at. But ultimately as well, and with Black History Month in particular, I would also encourage you to really think about the qualitative data as well. So we mine for feedback, if we really try our hardest to kind of surface things like this. So, this kind of feedback where someone has said, this is incredibly powerful, emotive and insightful, that is also has power in it as well. So when you are sharing how something's gone, data is fantastic, but it's only half the story. So I share that quote just to demonstrate, that actually you can sort of get a bit more rich data as well, and that really can help you in terms of showing whether an event was successful, or a campaign even. So lastly, I think we were asked to kind of pose a question before the breakout session. So my question is around that measurement piece. So how are you measuring the success of initiatives while working remotely? Thank you.